All right, everyone, we are live. Hello. It took a little bit for us to connect for this live video because we were trying to connect to a bunch of different platforms to come and talk to you about a very exciting bundle that I am hosting and that Tara is participating in this week called the Simple Marketing Bundle. It's happening actually this Thursday on my 35th birthday. So happy birthday to me.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thursday, April 18th at 8 a.m. The Simple Marketing Bundle is opening to the world. So make sure that you hop on the wait list. You can comment below, or if you're watching this from YouTube or Facebook, there's a link in the description that you can go and hop on the wait list for. I guarantee that you will want to hop on the wait list because we're going to be talking about a lot of really great stuff in this live today. But most importantly, the reason that Tara is here with me is because we're going to talk about her contribution to the Simple Marketing Bundle, which was all about community building. So I'm going to let you talk about it in just a second, Tara, but she contributed this really great product called Mastering the Art of Growing Your Community. So if you either have an existing community or you want to grow a community at some point in the future, like you need this. You need this resource. You are in the presence of somebody who knows exactly what they're doing when it comes to community building. So Tara, I will let you take it away from here. Do you want to just share?
I really feel I should probably grab. Let me see. I think I even have it here. Let's see. This is what you're also going to be getting. I forgot to tell you, this is what you get with your class. So I should have done it when we started. Yeah, so you'll get this with your class too. You're going to get everything on all about how to get your community going, how to build it, all of the tips, the things that you need to be looking for. There's going to be workbook pages in here for you to strategize. So you're going to get this with your class. So I'm excited because community is my jam. I did not realize that. It was something that happened very organically for me. You've heard, if you hear me speak anywhere, you hear me use this term all the time. Community is the new currency. Community is the new currency. We live in a world where your community and the people that you are building around you count so much more than you realize. And this is in business, but this is in life, right? Things that we take for granted. I'll give you an example. I needed to find an ear, nose, and throat doctor. Where do you think the first place I went was? I went to Facebook. Anybody have a reference? I need a reference. Who knows a good ear, nose, and throat doctor, right? I was looking for a space to hold events at. Where was the first place I went? Into my Facebook. Hey guys, anybody know a space in this area that rents out rooms? So we don't really think of our community as something we're using every single day. And then when we are building a business, that community can be the difference between success and ease and struggle and frustration. And so learning how to build your community, learning how to proactively invest in your community, learning how to swell your community, but also how to keep people in your community is really important. And I think sometimes, Stephanie, I see people who, if they either separate it, like I have a community, I have a Facebook group, or I have a community like you were sharing, you have your community, it lives on a platform off of Facebook and people can be part of her community and it's an incredible, resource and tons of information. And so we think we're either almost like it's this separate animal all of itself, right? I'm building this community, or we're not. There's like this divide. And if you have a social media account, you're building a community. If you have an Instagram account, you're building a community.
If you're watching this,
you're building a community. Yeah. So you may not have a community that lives in a little like hut somewhere, right? Like in a Facebook group, but you are building a community. If you run the PTA at your kid's school, you are building a community. If you run the volunteers at your church on Sunday, you're running a community. And so we cannot underestimate the value in communities, why they're important, why they count, and why as women in business, particularly in marketing our business, being very proactive in developing this community. And I often share the story. I don't know, Stephanie, if you know the story of how I initially realized the value of community. So I've always been somebody who, I started my first business when I was 20 years old. I was learning how to network. I was learning how to make connections. I didn't have people to build my business with. So I did a lot of marketing early on in my first 10 years in business. this makes me the dinosaur, right? But this was before, internet and social media and all of this. And so my first 8 years in my business, I moved 7 times. And I was in 3 different states. And so every time I would have to move, because there wasn't social media or anything like that, it was like starting all over again, right? To rebuild those connections and rebuild. So I became a master at marketing. I became a master of how do I find people. I got so good that it would take me 6 months. You could pop me in the middle of Kansas where I didn't know anybody. Within 6 months, I would have my business up and going again. And that was not on purpose. That was because of so many nights, like being miserable and crying and being like, why do I have to start all over again? So fast forward years later, I had, for those of you who don't know my story, I went through a domestic violence the same year my daughter went through childhood cancer. And so coming out of that season, and I should preface for me who doesn't know, she's now going to be 18 in 2 weeks. She's good. But coming out of that season, I had a lot of people reaching out and saying, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. You need to share about what you did, how you handled her cancer. What you did was very different than what we've seen other families do. I mean, even some of her medical professionals were saying to me, write a book, write a book. And I thought, I just went through divorce. I have no money. I'm broker than broke as a single mom. I cannot write a book, right? I'm just trying to get my life together. And it was recommended to me to do a GoFundMe. And I thought, that is insane. Like, I am not going to do a GoFundMe to write a book. People do GoFundMes because they've had tragedies in their life, right? They're doing it for like real, like this is crazy. And so I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. That's super tacky. And everybody kept saying, no, people want to support this. People are going to want to support this. And I was like, no. And so I thought, well, I'm going to pray on it. If God wants me to do this, I'll do it. But I'm going to wait for some severe confirmation before I do this thing, because I felt very uncomfortable with it. And literally within about 2 weeks, it was in one day, I had 2 real strong confirmations that I should do this. So I thought, all right, well, God's telling me to do a GoFundMe, I'll do it. So I throw up this GoFundMe. I had never done a GoFundMe. I didn't even know anything about it. And guys, this is years ago. Okay. So this was like, before what it is now. And within 1 month, I had enough money to fund my entire book. And
that's so wild.
I remember just being in shock. One of the first people who donated was my daughter's surgeon. That just set me over the edge in tears, right? Here was like she believes so much in this, right? But it made me understand the power of having a community, because I had built this community around me who had watched my daughter go through cancer, who had watched what we were doing. They were invested in what we were doing. They felt part of what we were doing. I was sharing pictures and I was sharing videos, and this was back when Facebook literally was, and some of you don't even know this because you're not old enough, but when Facebook first came out, it would say like, I am, and you would have to write in what you were doing. I am eating an apple, right? There was no video, there was no photo, there was nothing. And I had built this, it was a Facebook group. Nobody knew what a Facebook group was. People weren't even on Facebook, right? But I had built this little community and I invested in this little community. And so when I turned around and said, hey, this is what I want to do, who wants to support this? This community came out in droves and said, hey, we want to be part of this. And people wanted to donate because they wanted to be part of something bigger than them. They wanted to contribute to something that they felt was valuable and important and was going to bring a message to the world. And it was in that moment I thought, wow, I've underestimated the power of a community. And since that time, I have gone on a soapbox about the power of creating a community, because number one, you need to create your community before you need it. And number two, you never know when you're going to need your community. And if you have a business and you are a woman in business and you get good at building a community, it is going to take you and scale your business in a way that's unimaginable, because there's the concept, which is not, I have not come up with this phrase, but this concept of people support that which they create. And when people feel ownership in your community and they feel like they're part of your story and they're part of your success, and they see how your success contributes to their success. In a business, right? What is business? You find a need and you fill it. When you find their need and you fill their need and they feel that connection, and that you've made a difference in their life because of your business, because of what you've taught or what you've given them, they are going to come back in droves to support you and to support your business and to share that with other people. And so when Stephanie said she was creating this whole bundle and marketing, you guys know I'm a bundle junkie. I love bundles. Stephanie and I did another video you can watch of us talking about why I love bundles. I think they're brilliant. I think they're a way that people get tons of resources at such a teeny tiny cost. They give them a chance to try out so many people. They're so good. I know we've already talked about that, but I love bundles. And so when you said we were doing marketing, I was like, and I actually said to you, I said, I don't know that I even have anything that would be relevant for marketing. I was like, here's my stuff. And then you came back and you were like, community. We got to talk about community.
Yep. Yeah. And for those of you who are maybe aren't familiar, I feel like most people are in my world at least, but I know we're in your world too right now, streaming in here. So for those of you who aren't necessarily familiar with what a bundle is, it's essentially just a collection of resources that are put together, a lot of really high quality resources that are put together for a very low price. So for example, the Simple Marketing Bundle that's opening on April 18th, it is $7. That's it. One payment of $7 and you get over 50 resources in there. So the resource that Tara's talking about right now is the one that she contributed is called Mastering the Art of Growing Your Community. There it is. Love it. And it's not just like papers, right? It's a whole master class.
Yeah. So it's a master class. You're going to get an hour of training with me, and then you're going to get the workbook. So you're getting both. And guys, openly, you can go to my website and you can buy this, but it's $97.
Yeah.
And it's only one resource. You'll spend $97 on one resource, or you can grab the Simple Marketing Bundle and you'll get 49 other resources for $7.
Yeah. Do yourself a favor. Save the money because like just save the money, right? Like that's all you need to say.
So actually, I think we should explain this. I explain why people do this, because my thought would be, well, this must be a scam. What's the gimmick? Why would somebody give a $97 class for $7? That doesn't even make any sense, right? So can you explain why people do bundles and like why it's not a scam?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I get that.
I'm in New Jersey. That was the first thing that comes to my mind. Scam.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that because it does seem like too good to be true, right? So I'm going to approach this from two perspectives. Me as the host of the bundle and then Tara as a contributor, right? So me as a host of the bundle, the benefit to me is everybody who signs up for this bundle, you are now in my audience. You are now in my community, right? So if you decide to purchase this, I will get your email and you will be on my email list. Can you unsubscribe at any time? Of course, right? So, and then of course I get cash from it, right? Every sale that comes in, I get paid, right? And then for the contributors, they are also growing their audience, right? So every person who contributes a resource to this bundle, so for example, Tara, she's contributing her resource, she will get access to this audience of other people to very quickly grow her own audience without having to like manually post on social media, without even having to run ads, right? So she's tapping into a much bigger audience by simply contributing one of the products that she's already created, right? On top of this, because it's a paid bundle, she's getting paid. So whenever you sign up with her affiliate link, she's going to get cash, right? So it has the added benefit of her growing her audience and her also making some money on the back end of it too, because she's an affiliate for this bundle. So, and for the buyers, the people who sign up for this bundle, it's a win all around for them because they're getting access to all of these really high quality resources that normally sell for at minimum $27 in one place for just $7. So it's like a win-win-win, right? Everybody wins in this situation.
Yep. And this is why I love them, because I love win-wins. I love where everybody benefits who's involved. And I think there's a couple of key things to note. So when somebody signs up, like let's say you sign up in the bundle, I'm not automatically getting your email address. I'm only getting your info if you went and said, out of these 50 resources, this is the one, this is the two, this is the three that I want. So any of you who grab my Building a Community That Lasts, yes, I would then get your email. And that way we can start to have an engagement. Now, here's the best part of a bundle. If you go to my website and you buy my class for $97 and you don't love me and you don't love my class, you're out $97. Yep. If you go to the Simple Marketing Bundle and you grab my class for $7 and you don't love me there may be somebody else in those other 49 resources that you do love. And if you don't love me, you're only out $7, right?
Yep.
Like you can't even get to Starbucks for $7, people. Let's be real. So, it's a way. Sure. And the reason I like this is because it's been a way for me to try out different people to say, I really love what this girl's teaching. I need more of her stuff. I really love what she's doing. She speaks a language that resonates with me. And also, you know what? Like I recently got one and I thought, oh, I'm going to really love this. And I listened to her stuff and she's great. She's very successful, but she's just not my jam. The language, the way she uses her energy, it just doesn't, it's not for me. Right. And that's okay. I'm not for everybody. So it allows you to kind of weed through and find who are the experts that I do need to be following and plugging in with because I like the way they work. And they're also what I need right now. Sometimes there's things that just aren't relevant for what I need right now. But let me tell you, out of 50 resources, you're going to find something that you need right now. And I've also, so just as a contributor, I will tell you one of the reasons I love to contribute is that I get them the inside scoop to be able to see all these resources. And I've gotten such great stuff from the bundles that you've done. I think that you bring together high quality people. I think you bring together high quality resources. So I've learned a lot. I just took a fabulous class. I wish I remember her name because I want to give her credit on basically how to get paid buying products that you already use on Amazon. And I was like, I didn't even know this was a thing. Oh my gosh, this is so great. So things like that you can get. And this, again, I'm going to circle back to what we're doing with a bundle is a community. The reason it works is because you have 50 women, they create communities, and now they're introducing each other to each other's community, right? And so maybe you're in my community and you don't know Stephanie, and you don't know that she actually teaches people. Like she has this great group where you can go in and you can learn how to work your business on 20 hours a week to simplify your life. Her whole jam is teaching women how to simplify their systems, simplify their business, be able to take and do the things that you want to do and scale them on minimal hours. And maybe that's not what I teach, right? And so maybe you would never have access to her, but you're in my community and I open you up to this bundle and you go grab some of her stuff and you go, wow, this is really great. I need to grab her. I need to join her membership because I need to learn to work in just 20 hours a week, right? And so, and maybe you're in Stephanie's community and you don't know anything about building community, but you're working with her and learning how to simplify in 20 hours. And you're like, I need to learn a little bit more about how to market. And I need maybe some more networking opportunities. I host a monthly online networking event every month. And so maybe just that connection that you go, wow, I got Tara's email and now I have a coupon code to go do some networking for free. And that works out great for you. So that's the power of sharing each other, being strategic about the people we're aligning with. Right? Like, I think this is maybe the third one I've done with you. And I think I'm doing another one in the fall. And guys, I am particular with who I align myself with. It needs to be somebody who not only what they do is valuable, but who they are and the way they live life aligns with my values. And so I think that's important, that what I've gotten from you is not just that your stuff, but that who you are as a person and the reason you're bringing this out and your heart for wanting to help other people be successful is very aligned with the values that I have. And then that makes it a very easy yes to say, yes, I would love to contribute in your bundle, right? And that your bundles are just very professional. Guys, really, you have to go check this out. Like $7. I mean, to me, that's crazy. Like, and I will say, I did think you were a little crazy when I saw it was $7, but I was like, all right, if that's what she's doing, I'm on board. I trust her. She's pretty good. But 50 resources is a lot of resources. It is. It's like pennies per resource.
Yeah. Thank you for saying all that. And yeah, the reason it's $7, there's a bigger strategy at play behind the scenes, but we're not going to dive into all of that now, but it's $7 for a very specific reason.
But see, I don't need to know all those details. Once you align yourself with the right people, you're like, they figured it out. I'll just go with it.
Right. Let the other people figure things out for you. But again, you have to build that community in order for that to happen, so that you can build these relationships and connections. Because even by just another example is me hosting this bundle, not only do I build a community of all the people who sign up for it, I also build a community, almost like a separate community with the contributors, right? Because I think this is the second bundle that I've only done 3 so far. So this is the second one that you've been part of. Okay, but now 2. I know, like Tara's really great. Like I if she wants to participate in bundles in the future, I would definitely, she's at the top of the list, right? Because I know her from building my community of contributors, right?
Yeah.
So I also think one thing that we should talk about, because this kind of lends itself to this conversation is like different types of communities that you can build. Because I think when people think about communities, they think of like either like a free Facebook group or a paid community, maybe for like a membership or something. But I almost want to approach this from a different perspective of thinking like maybe like in-person communities in your life, right? Also, like I mentioned, the community of contributors, right? So that's like a separate community. My email list as a whole, that's another community. My members and my membership, that's another community, right? So almost like compartmentalizing it a little bit.
And these are all communities, and that's why people don't think of it that. I mean, how many of you think of your email list as a community? How many people think of like your in-person stuff as a community? But basically anybody who's coming into your world is joining your community, like the Tara Geraghty community, right? It's just that the world that I live in, and now you're part of that, and whatever that looks like. So I think one of the things is very important when you are thinking about your community. And there's some logistical stuff which we go through the class of like, where do you want your community to live? But one of the things is what makes yours different? What makes yours different than every other community? This is a really important question to ask, because it's saying, why should somebody connect with you and your stuff or your business versus everybody else? Now, here's where I think we mess this up. This is not mine is better. So Stephanie and I both have communities, right? Like we have our Hey Girl You Can membership. She's got her Simple Mark. We have 2 memberships, right? It's not, well, mine's better than hers, and this is why. Let me tell you why mine's all better. It's no, they're different. What makes them different? And let me tell you the secret. You guys want to know what makes yours different than everybody else's? I'll tell you right now. You. That's it. I'm not her and she's not me. And we have different ways that we communicate, that we work, that we think, right? We have different experiences. So what makes your community different is you. And so part of what we have to think about is, well, what is it about me that are my strengths, my gifts? Why are people going to want to connect with me? If you don't know what that is, you can go find out. Go ask the people in your community. Why are you part of my community? Why are you part of my Facebook group? Why are you coming to my event? Ask your customers, why do you purchase your products from me? They will tell you, right? Yep. The easiest thing is you say, I'm looking for people's opinions. Let me tell you.
People are not afraid of giving you opinions.
Love to give their opinions, right? You could say, I'm looking for opinions. People will tell you, but what makes that too? And I think the in-person is very interesting. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about what you're thinking with that, because I do both. My whole career, all of my stuff was really in person. I actually used to run 2. I was not the founders of them. I was brought in to help run them. 2 very large networking events in Colorado when I lived out there. One was a monthly one. They were both monthly. One was a little bit. It was a huge umbrella organization that had little monthly pockets of networking events. And so I ran one of them. And then one was a huge one that we did once a month that brought in a few hundred people. And you don't think of that as like a community, but it actually is, right? It's bringing people together on a regular basis. Now I only host a once a month Hey Girl You Can event just in my local area. And then I do one online networking event that's kind of global for everybody. But these are, again, little small pockets of community. So in person is very different than online, because online you can always delete something.
True.
If you don't like how something came out, you could cut that out. You have a little bit more control over things online. If things aren't said right or whatnot, you can delete what other people say. That is very different in person. I don't know how much you want to dive into that within marketing, but I'll let you kind of take over there.
Let's talk about it. I think that's a great conversation to have. Absolutely.
So I think in marketing in person, what you have to remember, and this doesn't apply online, is that when you're building your community, we want to attract people, not attack people. And as much as we want to say image doesn't count, image counts. End of story, image counts. How you show up for an event, particularly if you're networking, if you're speaking somewhere, if you're presenting a class somewhere, how you show up and how you look, you have 5 seconds to make a first impression. I used to host years ago, Stephanie, it was we called it an executive women's luncheon. It was in Colorado, and we would bring together professional women over lunch. And I was always shocked how people would show up. And
really,
I know we live in a world, and especially when it's called an executive women's luncheon, right? jeans, sneakers. I get it. We were in Colorado. People are more casual there than they are here, maybe in Jersey. But it's kind of that concept of, would you go to a dentist who doesn't have any teeth? Would you go to somebody to cut your hair if you thought she had horrible hair, right? We're taught, an older generation was taught, you dress for the job you want, not the job you have. And I think in today's world and in the post-COVID world, we're very casual, and we all live in, like I am, right? We all live in our yoga pants. That's what I'm wearing right now.
I'm literally in a sweatshirt right now.
Right. I think that we've forgotten that when you walk into a space, how you walk in, how you look, do you look professional? That people are going to judge you, whether that's right or wrong. I don't want to have a conversation about whether that's right or wrong. It's irrelevant. The reality is, this is the reality, and we have to work within the reality that we have. So even showing up for an event, do you look like a professional? Do you look like, you need to start walking, talking, dressing, thinking, acting like you're running $1 million business before you are running $1 million business, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That is what is going to attract people to you. The other thing I think that's very important is how you introduce yourself. When you're building a community, you want people to be able to refer other people to your community. And your community could be, I teach an online course, right? I'm an online course creator. You're creating a community of students who took your course, right? So again, community takes all different kinds of things, but can people easily communicate what it is, who you are, and who you serve and what you do, and not your title. So if I say to you, oh, my name is Tara Geraghty, so nice to meet you. My name is Tara Geraghty. I'm the founder of Hey Girl, You Can. What the heck does that mean? Right? Hi, my name is Tara Geraghty. Oh, I work with women I have a community of women who want to grow themselves and grow their business. Now you instantly know kind of what my vibe is a little bit, right? So being really clear when you're talking to people about what is it that you do, who do you serve? Why would people want to get connected to you? This is all part of it. And then I think a big part of community is that you want to think of it as more like a spider web. And we get into this in the class. Where people misunderstand what community is they think of community as audience. So An audience is, I stand on stage, you all watch, and you listen to me. And there's a time and a purpose for an audience. Okay. A community, a true community, is you're facilitating the people in your community getting to know each other and connect with each other. So I'll use Stephanie as an example. She's talking about building this bundle contributors, these contributors in this, we're all in the bundle together. An audience would be Stephanie just saying, okay, here's all the contributors, me up here. I'm just going to tell them all what to do. Instead, what she's doing is she's bringing these contributors together. She's putting them in a community group that they can all join. She's offering sessions where they can connect and network together. There's been ways for those contributors to get to know each other and connect. She's got this cool, don't you have the bingo board going on right now? Like where you can, and she's facilitating like, hey, connect with other contributors. And so she's creating this spider web now where the contributors are all getting to know each other within the community. And I think the most successful community builders are the people who take the spotlight off of them and put the spotlight on their members and give their members a chance to shine. Because when people feel valued, when people feel significant, when people feel like they matter, they will stay with you forever. They will stay with you forever. But if it's all about you and what you have to say and what you bring and who you are, they might be interested for a few minutes. But that's a different relationship. And that's not a community. So we get into the class too. One of the things that you'll learn is, how do you make people feel valued? How do you keep people connected? How do you make people feel significant? So in an in-person event, it's as simple as, hi, it's so nice to meet you. So tell me, what do you do? Versus, hey, it's so nice to meet you. I'm Tara. I'm the founder of Hey Girl, You Can, and I run an online community, and this is what I do, and blah, blah, blah. Stop talking about you.
And a lot of people do that.
Yeah. People will be more likely to do business with you, if they don't know you, but you know all about them.
Yep. People love to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
They love it. So let everybody them and be open to it. Right.
I remember years ago. So this is like, I'm in my early 20s, right? And for those of you who don't know, I went through a crazy domestic violence divorce. My ex-husband's literally like, I lived a lifetime movie. Like, he made up jobs, careers, people, things that didn't exist. It was very like that in of itself. I'm always like, I should sell my rights to Netflix. You guys would be like, this is not a real story.
Oh my God. I didn't know that.
Remember, Yeah, it's a totally wild story. I remember, I was 20, 21 years old, maybe 22 years old. We had our first date. And I will remember we went on this date. It was great. And I had been on a few different dates that weren't so great, but this one was really, really, really good. And I came home, and at the time I was living in this house with 5 guys, right? I don't know how my parents let me do this, but that's what it worked out. And I had this, so it was like having 5 brothers. And I came home and they were all like, so how'd the date go? And I was like, oh my God, it was so good. It was like the best date. It was like, we had such a great conversation and it was so engaging and like, we just connected. And they were like, oh, so tell us about him. Like, what does he do? What is he? And I was like, I don't really know. Because I realized the only one turking on the entire date was me. I had a great date with myself. Right. I don't know myself. Now, in my situation, it was very strategic. My ex-husband was somebody who was very good at like drawing information out from people and then using it to like, manipulate and then to kind of chameleon himself into who he wanted to be. So it was a very on purpose thing, right? He was doing it to kind of figure out all my hot points and then be like, oh, I'm exactly who she's looking for, right?
Yep.
But it really was eye-opening to me that I was like, this was the best date I've ever had. And all I had done was talk about myself, right?
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. That's
yeah.
a great story.
I'm not telling you to be a chameleon and a manipulator and go like do this to manipulate people. That is not the purpose of the story. The purpose of the story is to say that people love to talk about themselves. And when people talk about themselves, they feel connected to you. When you can find instant connections, like this is part of great people skills. Great people is, can you find a connection with somebody really quickly? She's got a dog, you've got a dog. Oh, now you've got the dog in common. She's got a young kid, you've got a young kid. Single mom. Like when I lived in Colorado, I saw this. It was super easy. When I lived in Colorado, as soon as I would say to somebody, if they were from New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, we were besties. We knew, like, I get you. I get that you have not had a bagel in like 5 years. I get that you have not had a decent slice of pizza in at least 6 years, right? Like there was this instant connection simply because we were from the tri-state area together. So great community builders put the focus on other people. They find out about those other people. They listen. They let that other person talk, and they look for connections. They look for connections because people like people that they have things in common with, right? And they look for those connections, and then they look for ways to highlight and spotlight the other person. Like a simple thing to do is this is a perfect example. Stephanie's building her community. She's bringing me on to spotlight me, right? Mm-hmm. This is building her community. She's benefiting from it, right? But now it's connecting me to her. I'm going to be more connected to her and her bundle than I will to maybe 2 other people that I did their bundles, but I never had that conversation with. Do you see why that's so strategic on her part? So who's going to get it?
And if somebody were to ask Tara, hey, do you know somebody who can help me simplify my business? The first person that she would probably think of is me, because we've built this connection, right? So yes, I mean, there is some strategy involved, but also we're just being genuine people too. So I want to bring that into it as well, because I don't want it to come across as like, we're only doing this for strategic purposes. Like, yes, we're running businesses. So we do need to be strategic, but we're also just being ourselves. And this is just how we are. These are just the types of people that we are. So
well, that's what I think I mean, here's the thing. That's right. I said right in the beginning when we started, one of the reasons I do your bundle is because of who you are. Right. And I think that guys, you can only fake it for so long.
True.
If you're not a genuine person, and I think this is true in business, if you're not a genuine person and you're not really in business because you feel that when you start a business, it really should be aligned with, what are my gifts? What can I contribute that brings value to other people? What can I teach people? What can I offer people? Like Stephanie has figured out, she's very good at simplifying business. She's very good at saying, okay, people get overwhelmed with all these to-dos. How do we break this down and that they can work 20 hours? They can make things very streamlined, step by step, in small buckets that will support their business. This is her gift. This is not my gift. This is her gift, right? So then you create a business based on what you're really good at that will benefit other people. We're in business to make money. But if we're only in business to make money, then number one, we're probably not aligned with our gifts. We're just looking at, let me chase the dollar, right? Let me find what's going to be my quick buck. And that will only get you so far. because particularly when it comes to community building, and if you're community building with women, we know.
We're not dumb. We can tell.
We know if you're full of, right?
Yep.
Like there's a saying, and I don't remember who was the first person who used to say this, but I've heard the saying a lot. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Mm-hmm.
And in community, the reason people, I think, really supported my book was that I was very transparent. I was very open with people. I wasn't trying to be somebody that I wasn't. I was open about the situation that was going on. I was open about the gratitude I had for the people who were bringing me dinners and were bringing gifts to my daughter during that season in our life. And so people saw a very genuine, the genuine Tara, right? And that they connected with. And this was years ago. I would say this is more relevant now because of the fakeness in social media. We live in a world that's so fake, it's so manufactured, it's so photoshopped, it's so filtered, that if you show up as an authentic, unfiltered, genuine person, you automatically stand yourself out from the crowd. You know, you're automatically going to attract people into your community because people are craving genuine, real, authentic people.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Will build your community. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I think, approach community building. They think it's hard, right? They think it's hard. They think it's going to take them a lot of time to build a community. But if you just show up as yourself and just be your true self, people will naturally be attracted to that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the part, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I'd love to hear your perspective on this, but I think that's the part that holds so many people back from even getting started, is because they think, well, they think it's going to take them too much time. They don't have time to do it. 2, they don't really know who they are, right? They don't really know what those gifts are that they have, or they don't feel confident that they can help other people in any way. And it doesn't even have to be a business, right? It could be in your personal life. Like, for example, your community could be like your neighbors, right? So I just love your perspective on that. We've gone way over at this point, but if you don't mind sharing, I would love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, well, I think it's, I kind of always picture this, that imagine we all had different sunglasses. All right. And we all have these sunglasses that we see the world through. But every sunglass is a slightly different tinge on the tint. So let's say Stephanie and I, we both have yellow sunglasses. But my yellow is going to be a slightly different hue than her yellow. There's no exactly the same hue. So out of all the billions of people on the planet, everybody has a slightly different hue on their sunglasses. And it's the way that we see the world. And your hue is based on who you are genetically, our DNA, right? Nobody else has the same DNA as you, right? Like, you have a unique DNA. And even if you have someone like my brothers who are identical twins who have the same DNA, they have different life experiences. Yes, they grew up in the same family, but they went to different graduate schools. They've married different women. They've been in different places, right? And so all of these things affect your hue, which means that only you can bring your gift, your perspective, the way you see the world to the table. Nobody else can do that. And this is why it's so heartbreaking when you have somebody who has a dream or an idea for a business and they're afraid to start it, because if they die and they don't bring that business to life, nobody else ever can in the way that they would have, because nobody else has that color hue in their glasses, right? Nobody else sees things the way that you see things. So I think I would say more than that, it might be the time. I might be missing something there. Maybe people do really think it takes a lot of time. I think it's a little bit more people feeling that what they have to say is not valuable. They don't feel that they know enough. I think as women, we often see this, that women feel like they need to be an expert and they don't feel like they're an expert. So they feel like, why would somebody want to listen to what I have to say? I need to know more, do more, be more, have achieved more before I can bring something to the table. And I would say those are all lies that the enemy is telling you from stopping you to show up at the table. That simply who you are, by your existence of who you are at this point in life. I'm assuming if you're listening to this, you're an adult. So you've earned some level of knowledge just from living your life. and your perspective. And I do think the other key thing Stephanie said that is huge is you have to show up consistently. It cannot be like a fly in, fly out. There needs to be accountability. There needs to be trust. You need to show up on a regular basis. People need to hear your voice. They need to hear from you regularly. I struggled with this with email quite openly because I'd email kind of like, oh, hear from me 1 month. 2 months later, you don't hear from me. Maybe I'll post something else again. And that wasn't working. People need to see you on a regular basis, hear from you on a regular basis to stay connected to you. And I would say that
to your point there, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. It's more important now than ever to be consistent because people are constantly bombarded from every angle, right? In their inboxes, in their social media feeds. If you are not being consistent with your marketing and your messaging and really bring your gifts into the world, people are going to forget about you.
Yeah.
Because that's just the truth, unless you make your mark in some way. And that's what that community is all about. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think it's interesting. A lot of people who say like, well, I don't want to email too much. And I always find that interesting because I'm thinking I might send you 4 emails and maybe you only open 1, right? Yep. It's just an email. You can delete it if you don't want it. So I don't think I heard somewhere, and I don't remember where this was. Maybe it was with something you did. I don't remember. That in the United States, email marketing is about 3 times a week. In Europe, it's only 2. Apparently they're different over there. But in the US, it's really 3 emails a week is what's considered like the standard. And a lot of people are like, 3 emails a week, that's a ton. But I think, boy, don't ever give Target your email.
Yeah. Right? I was going to say, like, the big companies, they don't care how much they email you.
Right. And so we get all worried, like, oh my gosh, am I emailing my clients too much? Now, I will say if you're emailing crap, if you're emailing something that doesn't have any value, if you're just emailing a sales pitch 3 times a week, then yeah, that's not going to work. But if you're emailing stuff that is, again, this goes to the community. If you're emailing stuff that's for them, not for you, that will keep people into your community. What are you giving them every week? What is helping them every week and what's putting in there? That then people are going to open your email, right? What they're going to get for it. But I would say that you don't have to have a Facebook group to have a community. If you do, this class will benefit you. If you have a place where your community is actually living, you're going to have a very strong framework of how to set up your community, how to make your community different, how to get other people to invest in your community, because you just don't want people to join your community. You want them to stay there and you want them to bring friends, right? So you're going to have a strong framework and outline that you'll work through at the end of this class that will support that for sure. If you have a Facebook group, it's probably going to tighten your systems up a little bit so that you're a little bit clearer and more concise so that you can scale. That's what you want to do. You want to be able to scale. Okay. If you don't, and you're like, I'm not really even thinking about a community, but you have an email list, or you want to develop an email list, or you use social media for anything, you'll be able to take these same ideas and apply it to that. Okay. You'll be able to apply it to your Instagram, to your LinkedIn, to those same concepts. It's going to give you a way to think through ahead of time. What makes you, kind of what you were saying, like what makes you different? Why would people connect with you?
And the great thing is they get access to your class for life. So even if maybe you're not ready to grow a community, like maybe you're not ready to grow a Facebook group, right? You're just not ready for that. But in a year from now, you might be, right?
Yes.
And then you'll have that to go back to and you can reference it, right? So, and you could spend the $7 right now, get access to this entire bundle of resources. And then maybe you don't use it right now. So you just put it in your little reservoir.
I do this all the time with her bundles. So I'll go into Stephanie's bundle. I do this all the time with her bundles. I'll go into her bundle, right? And I'll be like, oh, this looks really good. This looks really good. This looks really good. I don't need this right now, but I'm going to, and I will take that. And then I just kind of file it away so I have it. So I have like a running list of great resources that are kind of like, hey, for different things. Everything, guys, from everything. Well, I will tell you, totally off record, that she's not going to want this on live. I tried to sign up and I didn't get my password. So I sent you an email. I need a password because I want to be able to go in and see all the other contributors. So I can't say who else is in there yet, but can you kind of give us a sneak peek of what else is in there or some of your favorites? Yeah. But when we hang up, I need to get the password from you so I can get in there because I was trying to see everything.
We may have had a tech glitch. The password should have gone, but there may have been a tech glitch, but that's okay. Tech glitches happen, right?
And it might have got to my email and I just couldn't find it, or who knows, whatever, but it was over the weekend.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to say like here, because usually what I love to do is share like, these are some of my other favorites. Because I might not be your cup of tea. You might be like, Tara, I haven't liked to listen to you for the last 45 minutes, but I promise there's somebody in there that you would like out of 49 other resources.
Yep. I'm pulling it up right now because I didn't have it in front of me, but so I mean, just in terms of like the types of resources that are in there, I'm really glad that you said that because there's so many different kinds. So remember, this bundle is specifically focused on marketing, right? So all of these resources will help you market your business in some way. So, for example, podcasting, right? So it may be if you have a podcast right now, or if you want to start a podcast in the future, there's a resource for that. Using ChatGPT very strategically for your marketing copy.
I love that.
Who doesn't want to use ChatGPT, right? There's another one called 10 Steps to 1,000 Subscribers. So if you don't have 1,000 subscribers on your email list right now, this resource walks you through the 10 steps to make that possible, right? There's also other ones around creating your marketing plan, right? Outlining your content in a very specific way so that you know exactly what to post when you're posting it. There's another one called Nailing Your Niche. So if you don't know what that is for you, you'll be able to figure it out. There's also another one for trademarks. So if you are thinking about trademarking something in your business, most people wouldn't necessarily think this is tied into marketing, but it is. Because anything that you create, this is not legal advice. I'm not an attorney. I'm pretty sure that you can trademark. So this resource will show you how to do that, right? Also, let me see. I'm looking through my list. Creating your brand, right? Because that's also a part of branding. Templates to create different resources in your business. So lead magnets, PDFs. Yeah, I love templates too, right? There's swipe files in here for quite a few things. Optimizing your LinkedIn profile. So if you're using LinkedIn, you need to make sure you're using it strategically, right? SEO, right? If you're using ads, there's a resource for that, and it gives you an actual calculator to figure out how much you need to spend in order to reach your goals. Wow. So like that's just a sample.
Okay, so guys, I just feel like I just needed everything that she just said. Okay, right, I feel like I just need all of them, right? Everyone that you just said, I was like, yeah, I probably could use that. So, and I know we're going on for a long time, but this is why we want you to grab this bundle. I do remember early on in business learning why marketing was so important. And if you're thinking, I don't know that I need marketing right now, I just need sales. I don't need marketing. And I remember hearing this was very interesting. They talked about the Great Depression. So back in the 20s, and that when, and now we have to preface that it's the 1920s, because I guess technically we're in the 20s. So back in
that's so weird.
Yeah.
I did not even think about that.
Yeah. So technically, so my daughter, she's like, Mom, you were born in the 1900s.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? You were born in the 1900s. I'm like, oh Lord. All right. So back in the 1900s, in the 1920s, during the Great Depression, when companies started losing money and the stock market was crashing and everybody was losing money, the first thing that companies would cut would be their marketing dollars. Because it was an easy thing. It wasn't directly, marketing is kind of like woo-y, like you don't know what you're going to get from it. And maybe it's working and maybe it's not. And so that was the first thing that a lot of companies cut, was they started stripping all their marketing dollars away to try to keep the company afloat. What they found out years later, and this was what always struck me, what they found out years later was that the companies that did not cut their marketing dollars were the ones that were still in business.
Because they didn't stop talking about their thing.
Yeah. Right. And that to me was such a early on owning my first business with no business background, never taking a business class in college or anything like that. When I learned that, I was like, wow, marketing is the key to success in business. Every single business needs to be strategically on purpose marketing. When your marketing stops, your business stops. And so this was one of the reasons openly I was excited about this particular bundle, because I don't think we talk about marketing as much as we should. We focus on the end result, which is how to get more sales, how to sign up more clients, how to do all that. But nobody looks all the way back and goes, it all starts with the marketing, right?
You can't make sales unless you talk about it, which is marketing.
Yeah. And you might be really focused on like, I need to do my brand and I need my image and how do I brand myself and all of that. And that's great. That's all important. But if you don't know how to market your brand, like there's this big giant from A to B. Like if I want to get from point A, get my business together, get it all up and running, get all my systems in place, learn how to do my website, my funnels, all of those things, which are vital, right? And then B is scaling, making money, making income, creating this work. The big gap here in the middle is the marketing. That's why this bundle is so important for every single business owner. Hands down, you need to know how to market. And I truly believe that
you don't have a business.
Yeah. I do believe that's why my first business that I started at 20 that I've had for 26 years, which is still my primary income, I truly believe one of the reasons that business is sustained and been so successful is because I became a master at how to market that business. And that is now what I teach, you know, other women who are in that business with me, is that I was very strategic. I failed a lot and did a lot of things that didn't work, but I started to figure out which are the ones that did. And I became laser focused on marketing.
Yep. So you need to market your business. You need to know how to build communities in order to almost have them market your business for you in some ways, right?
Yeah.
And you get all of this inside of the bundle. So I think that's a really great way to just kind of, yeah, there you go.
You want this. This is what comes with the class. So I just want to preface that. Like, and I like that because I think sometimes you take a class, but having a workbook where it's very specific and you're taking notes while you're taking the class, when the class is over, you come out with an action plan. I think that's why I keep going back to this, because I want it to be that it's not like, oh, that was great information, and maybe one day I'll put that into place. I want you to like watch the class, have your workbook, and literally be able to go and be like, this is what I'm going to do next now.
Yeah, an action plan, because all of the resources are great, but if you don't take action on them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're pointless. Yeah, exactly.
Right. They're just collecting dust. So, and that's actually why we have a VIP pass on top of the bundle, right? Because it will propel you into actually taking action. And one of the things inside of that VIP pass, I wasn't even going to mention this, but it kind of like lends itself well to the conversation, is it's called a sign up party, where we will come on live with you and help you sign up for the resources that you need. So you actually take action on it. And you get this organizer to organize all of your resources that you're signing up for. So you can keep everything in one place. For those resources that you don't need right now, but maybe you'll need them in a year from now, they're in that pretty little organizer for you, right? So that you can come back and use them whenever you need them. So again, that's optional, but I mean, that's to help us encourage you to take action and use the resources, right? So, all right. We need to wrap this up. This is supposed to be 15 minutes and we're here for almost an hour. But this is such a great conversation. Thank you.
I could talk to you forever. I love what you do. I love your bundles. And I just love your energy. So thank you. We could just hang out all day.
I know. I agree. Same.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to say though. If you were watching this and you were watching the replay and you have questions, so where can you go? So Stephanie, you can go to her link. You'll find all the links there. When you're on my stuff, just go to my link. You'll see right at the top of my link. It has all, and you'll see the bundle listed right at the top of my link tree. All right. So you can go ahead. If you're on the wait list right now, I think you get a gift. There's a special bundle thing that'll happen on the first day that it opens. So I would encourage you to get on the wait list because you'll get some extra goodies if you're on the wait list that you're not going to get if you're not on the wait list. Okay. So find the links. But also if you have questions or you're like, I need more information on this, like DM, drop a comment. I would love to hear too, if you're on my stuff, like what's one thing about community that maybe either you learned just from our talk today or in a thought that you hadn't had before, or tell me about your community. Like I'd love to hear about the community that you're building. So I want to be able to read those comments, see what you're doing, see what you're sharing. So please go ahead and comment and share and tell me about your community, or if you have one, or if you want one, or what it is.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. If you have any questions at all, put them in the comments below. We're streaming those into multiple locations. Some are mine, some are Tara's. Mm-hmm. So she may respond to you, I may respond to you based on wherever you ask. But yeah, we're again here to support you. That's the whole reason this bundle exists, is to support you and make marketing easy for you. We're not creating this for us necessarily. We know how to market, right? We're creating this for you to really simplify marketing. That's the whole point of it. It's called the Simple Marketing Bundle for a reason. So I'm so excited for the people to dive into this on April 18th, because it's just, there's so many good things in there. It's going to help so many people, which is what I'm all about. And I know you are too. So thank you again, Tara, for
Yeah.
being here for this almost hour-long interview that this turned into. This is
I
great.
gotta go run on a phone call. So
and I guarantee that people, either whether they were here live with us or whether they're going to watch the replay, they're going to take a lot from this. So thank you again. I appreciate you.
bye, guys.
Bye.